Want to thank you for joining us for another Marvel episode of Iron Panther Presents. This is a great day for me because I get to discuss the Fantastic Four First Steps, which is an outstanding movie, which all of you should go see if you're a Marvel fan or just like comic book stories or family stories. I think it's a great movie. But anyway, we're going to get the crew in here and talk about it, see what they think. What does this mean for the rest of the MCU? We're gonna do that type of stuff. Let's get to it.
Oh, wait. I got to do it now. Wait. This is gonna be funny. Wait. You ready? I got to do it.
This is awesome. This is amazing. I love it.
It was psychological. It was emotional.
Extremely entertaining.
But as always, as we try to say here, as we said, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. And as we talk about this video, please like on the video and comment on the video, and we will get back to you as soon as possible.
All right, guys, we're going to talk about the Fantastic Four. I'm happy. There you go. We got the crew here. All right, so who wants to start? You are our guest. So we shall start with you, sir. What did you think of the four?
I thought it was solid. I thought it was a solid film. I don't think it's a perfect film, and we can get into that. But overall I enjoyed myself. I think Galactus is incredible to view. I'm not somebody who's like, oh man, you got to see a movie on IMAX, but I would recommend seeing this movie on IMAX to get the full scope of him. I thought that they did a really good job with their origin story, telling this very brisk version of it that just got me invested. I'm like, okay, I know who these characters are. Tell me the rest of the story. I dug it. I thought it was a very focused story compared to another film. It was a little more focused. And I don't mean that as a knock. I mean, it's two different stories that you're trying to tell, but I just feel like this was able to do something very interesting. Like I said, it was a brisk kind of introduction to the characters, and you were able to see 3 or 4 of their villains in that introduction.
Yes.
So that made them feel like I automatically was like, okay, this is a world that's lived in. They're established as the heroes.
Yes.
I like this. I like the where this is going.
Yes.
Now take me forward. It's a different film, but I think that's where the other film lost me because you didn't establish anything prior to.
Yes.
So I really thought that was really well done. I think this is probably, I would say, if not the best post-Endgame movie, it's the top 2. Like I'm really a big fan of Thunderbolts, but if I'm being objective, this is a stronger, more succinct film.
My 2 would be this number 1, and then Deadpool and Wolverine number 2. Like that would by post. I was like, those 2 are top by far. I like Shang-Chi. Let me put that. Let me say number 3. I thought as an original character introduced to a new story, like kind of getting started, I thought he was awesome for that. But this is definitely my top post Endgame movie for me. But we'll go around. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no. I thought that this movie was a really good movie. Don't think it was great, but I really enjoyed it. Just same thing I kind of said about the last film that we just saw. I like that we didn't get this whole origin thing. You know what I mean? Granted, we didn't have as many movies as we did for Fantastic Four as we did with Batman and Spider-Man and everything else. But they just quickly did the whole TV show angle, which I thought was really smart. And they kind of just went through it. Hell, I even like the fact that they didn't even necessarily have to do the whole transfer, like show them transform, which I know some people were probably not gonna like, oh no, I wanted to see Ben Grimm
especially Ben.
scream.
Especially Ben.
You know, they wanted to see what we got in was it 2017 Fantastic Four, where that one was like a freaking horror film. 15, yeah, when it was like a freaking horror
Michael
film when they
B.
were
Jordan.
transforming. Yeah, like Bruno was like, oh my god, this is like
God.
Alien.
Like,
This is the movie Alien. What the hell is
I'm gonna do it.
yeah, but no, I thought it was dope. He somehow pulled off Galactus. That was really good. I mean, as much as you can, at least let me just say that as much as you can with Galactus, this is how you do it. You know what I mean? And he looked just like the freaking actor who voiced him. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh shit, he actually looks like him. You know what I mean? So I was impressed with that. kind of, didn't necessarily answer some stuff from the end of Thunderbolts necessarily, or maybe it did, which I'll talk about later. I think maybe it possibly did, but overall it was a good, not great film. Pedro Pascal, that dude just does not like giving kids away, whether it's Grogu or it's Ellie. Is Grogu, Ellie, and now like his own son. He's like, once again, I'm not giving the kid up. I was like, dude, Grogu, give me the damn baby Yoda, and your whole plan will be good. No, Ellie, like give me Ellie, and I can find a cure.
Everyone in here.
I can find a cure, and everybody will, like the whole zombie thing won't happen again. No, give me your baby, and your Earth will be spared. No, we're family. I was waiting for Vin Diesel to show up.
For no reason. He should have played Ben for no reason.
Family. You know what I mean? I mean, that will be when we get into it. My only probably negative is the baby, and I'll explain why later on. Is that, you know what I mean? That's really probably only real negative. And some screen time I thought was not really given fairly, in my opinion, to both Ben Grimm and even Silver Surfer. I loved what we got with Silver Surfer. I think, to me, my favorite scene was Johnny Storm trying to talk to the Silver Surfer, and you could see, like, even with their face, like her trying to, like her kind of having a small backstory or whatnot. I wish we kind of had a little bit more of that. You know what I mean? I actually kind of wish that Johnny Storm kind of gave himself up. I mean, I had a feeling that like Silver Surfer was going to come at the very end and knock him out, whatever. But I thought that would have been stronger if it was Johnny that kind of went in with them, and he would be the next hero. You know what I mean? But but overall, it was a nice heartfelt film. Definitely had a actual theme. You know what I mean? So which was literally about family without getting too mushy. And for me, who's not really that great when it comes to liking Fantastic Four, this is how it should have felt. You know what I mean? And it was very kind of comic book-esque accurate. Had that 1960s feel with the whole, it was like Jetsons. It was like old school, but with newer technology, especially with it being 828, whatnot. I was like, okay, this is good, and they didn't overdo it with the comedy, even though I probably wanted a little bit more. In my opinion, I think Chris Evans is probably the best Human Torch, in my opinion. But I still like the choices they made with him, with this actor. I forgot his name. So overall, good film. Good film. There you go, Marvel. There you go.
So do you believe that Rise of the Silver Surfer was a better movie?
I'll say this. The look of Silver Surfer, and I'm just talking about like the voice and whatnot. I liked that version. However, there was better scenes in this one where she's actually on a freaking surfboard, and it was like she was going through the lava and whatnot. Better action scenes in this one than the other one. However, I love that Lawrence Fishburne was the voice of Silver Surfer. In my head, I was like, damn, that is who I would envision would be like kind of like the voice of Silver Surfer. In my opinion, they probably still I know we're still at like Terminator 2, whatever, with the whole metallic skin, but I don't know. Maybe in the next 10 years we can probably do better, with CGI when it comes to Silver Surfer. I still don't think I think they nailed Galactus. I don't think we're still there with Silver Surfer, in my opinion. We're not there yet, unfortunately. You know what I mean? I thought maybe the preview was going to be different than actually watching it in theaters, but no.
All right.
Well, and I think just to answer your question really quick, I think it's hard to judge that. It's really hard to judge if Rise of the Silver Surfer is better. And I say that because that was a setup story for Silver Surfer. That was for his spinoff. So there's a lot more that was done. The story was more focused around him, blah, blah, blah. This story was split between Galactus and Silver Surfer.
So he was like, she was more of a henchman, like she was a slave to Galactus, or more Galactus's story. And Silver Surfer was just a way to get from point A to point B, in this particular. But Galactus was more fleshed out. For the origin story, I was completely impressed that they were like, we're going to give you 2 movies worth of villains to establish these characters. And this was part 3. If this was phase 1, they would have did Fantastic Four, this is how we get our powers. Fantastic Four 2, we're finding some more, and this would have been number 3. This would be the crescendo to get you to a Avengers level movie. Galactus to me is an Avengers level threat where you need Thor, you need Iron Man, like this is real shit. You know what I'm saying? We need the world to come together. And that's what this felt like to me. Like this easily could have involved all the Avengers, and working together. Even like I was thinking about Black Panther and Shuri. You need to get a global field that's going to phase the Earth to another. You need some scientists. You need Shuri in this thing. Like you could have brought Black Panther in there. They could use vibranium to build the towers and all that kind of stuff. Like there's people that Tony could have been working on that part of the thing. Like Bruce Banner could have been working on that. You know what I'm saying? Like they really could have brought the Avengers together to make that happen if they wanted to scale it up, for Galactus, I thought. But I will say, since they didn't give us 2 movies, for those who don't know the Fantastic Four, to get to the point where you're feeling them to be like, oh my God, they may not come back from this. You don't know them enough. If you don't know them enough to be like you're invested in them, but you can tell that they're a family. You can tell that they were friends and family that came together, that stick together, that will sacrifice for each other. Like and you felt that like immediately, and I was going with them on the journey. Like I wanted to see where this went, and even though I know they're going to be in Doomsday, I was like, oh, Storm ain't gonna make it. I was like, oh crap! like I'm feeling bad for this one. Like she about to die for her baby. I was like, the baby. But like I gotta tell myself, like Doomsday, they are laid out the cast for Doomsday, David. Like all of these characters are gonna be fine, and that's why Johnny, and that's what we talked about last video, that Marvel has told too much to the audience. They've done too much to be like, we got movies for the next X amount of years, and this is what's gonna. So you don't have that genuine fear that Johnny is gonna go through that thing, and we don't know if we're gonna see him again. No, he's gonna be fine. He's in the next movie. So you kind of take away that mystery from it. I thought even the mole guy, who I didn't know.
Mole man, yeah.
I love the fact they made him relevant. Like it's like, because it's logical. It's logical. If you hear that a baby can be sacrificed for the entire Earth, the Earth is gonna be like, give up that baby. That made sense to me. We got to get people off the street. Galactus is coming. We can't have these people on the ground. Let's get them underground. That makes sense. You try to clear the way, and that made sense, except for the water guy. I guess they said fuck the boats, but I was like, but that made sense to me. I was like, all this stuff made sense. And Silver Surfer had a origin story. You knew why she was working for Galactus. You understood her motivation. You understand she sacrificed herself, and they wrapped it up pretty good to be like, okay, she's a sympathetic villain, in that sense. And I was like, that makes sense. I was like, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. But again, again. So the montage was, and they showed us. They didn't tell us with a whole bunch of fucking script.
Well, and I think what works so well about that too is, if you go into it, and I'm not only just establishing Fantastic Four. We have to remember this is a different world. This is a different universe, right? So I'm also establishing that they're the most important superheroes on this planet. So I'm not thinking about Hulk anymore. I'm not thinking about Shuri. I'm thinking, okay, this is it. This is Earth's defense. And that becomes so much more succinct than, like you said, I would be thinking, well, like Bruce Banner's over here, Black Panther's over here. Why don't these guys come together? Because you're right. Galactus is an Avenger level threat, right? But once they showed me that intro, I was like, oh, I get it. This is their home field. If there is a threat, they're the only ones who are going to be able to deal with this.
Who's coming to the aid?
Who's coming to
aid, right?
Right. And it works. It works for the story, because the more succinct and the more narrow your storytelling is, the better it is. Now, I do have a criticism about it, where is if you have such a succinct story, your character development should be off the charts. In this movie, it is not. There are parts in it where I'm like, okay, there's no arc for these people. And this is why I know we had this conversation with Superman. Sometimes you need the origin story to complete the journey of a character. If you just drop us in the middle, there is no it plateaus. Superman's origin story. I'm Superman before this because my parents, I believe what my parents said and how they wanted me to be. Superman at the end of the movie, I'm the superhero because this is how my parents have raised me. This is how I am. It's there's tweaks in it, but it's very much the same thing, right? If you look at it objectively, Reed's arc is what?
Okay.
Reed is just he's an analytical guy at the beginning
and he's an analytical guy at the end.
But that's the things that I think the movie kind of missed out on, because they have a scene where Sue is like, no, our baby's the most important thing. Stop thinking analytically. Stop thinking about like the percentages and stuff like that.
Right.
So I was expecting Reed to be that guy. Like the Sue role, I was expecting Reed to be because that gives him an arc. Like if you look at the 2005 Fantastic Four, the arc is I'm so wrapped up in analytics and stuff like that, I may lose Sue. I have to realize that I can have both. I can have analytics, but I can also have emotion. I could care about somebody and let them in. So then you have the arc at the end to get married, blah, blah, blah. If you have Sue is the protective mom. Whether it's her family or she claims it's the world is her family, apparently. Like, that's her. What else is she? She has no other arc. Johnny and Ben, what is their arc?
They're bros. They're bros to the end.
Right. So you sort of lose stuff. You lose stuff when you don't tell. Especially like with Ben. Ben's arc at the beginning, like his story, and I know it's been done already, but like that journey of I'm becoming now the Thing is so massive. So massive. How do people treat me? How do people react to me? All that's gone because now you plot me in the middle. So it's a give and take, when you lose the origin. It didn't hurt the film for me, but it's things I noticed. I was like, oh, they're not really. There's no in-depth character development.
It looked like they were trying to go there with Ben, and then it's like they kind of stopped short. Like Ben's looking at the TV screen and he sees him as an astronaut, and you see him kind of like looking at where he was, and now I wanted more of that. And with nowadays with all these movies being 2.5 hour plus movies, I'm like, and this is being like short of 2 hours. I'm like, this is the movie where like you kind of maybe would add like another 10 or 15 minutes to give us a little bit more Ben, where he's like, oh, I'm fine. And then he really kind of isn't. You know what I mean? Even though people love him, you know what I mean? Because obviously this is years later. So I guess to your point, I guess this is why no one's really afraid of him anymore. You know what I mean? But he's still kind of dealing with something, which you see in the movie, but then it just kind of stops right there. Same thing with like Johnny, where Johnny, you can see moments where Johnny feels like he doesn't really have anything to contribute. You know what I mean? He's not as smart as the other three. And it's like, it's kind of there. And he's like, oh, see, I told you I can figure out the language. See, I'm good for, but we don't really kind of explore it a little bit more. You know what I mean? Yeah. Reed, the thing about Reed and Sue, those two characters, the problem I always had with Fantastic Four, especially with those two characters, there's always not a whole lot for them. You know what I mean? And I don't know, unless they kind of like if Marvel just decides to kind of remake those two characters all together, I don't know how you could even kind of. It's a long shot. You know what I mean? At least I'll say, at least the writer. I can't really fault the writers as far as how they treated Reed. They kind of did the way you needed to kind of do with Reed Richards, in the sense of he's so super smart, and that's kind of his weakness. You know what I mean? He can't stop thinking. You know what I mean? When he created, was it the Council of the Reeds, Reed Richards? Like he realizes the only way that all these other Reed Richards from different universes is to literally be like, I gotta sacrifice my family or whatnot. It's like, and he's like really pissed off. He's like, shit, why do I have to be so smart? Why can't I be an idiot in a sense and then just kind of enjoy life? You know what I mean? I kind of wanted to see that. You know what I mean? And we got a taste of it. We got a taste of it, but it didn't really kind of go deeper in detail. You know what I mean? So to your point, we didn't get that character development from pretty much anybody. We see glimpses. We get glimpses, but that was it. Even with Galactus, like you even hear Galactus even saying the lines like, I need this baby so he can be my successor so I can finally rest. You know, because believe it or not, Galactus has a backstory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and Galactus, even though he's always portrayed as a villain, at times he does kind of work for the good guys. Not a whole lot, but you know what I mean. But when there's other external threats, he kind of does good. You know what I mean? So he's not just a two-dimensional character. So it's like you get glimpses in this movie, and then it's just kind of like, all right, well, we kind of have to move you on because we got this big threat coming in, in 2 minutes. So yeah.
Well, and I think that's where like a Thanos character works better, right? Thanos is like, I'm gonna do this, but I have a firm justification of why. You may agree with it, you may not agree with it, sure. I'm still wondering, why does Galactus have to feed? I mean, there's nowhere in the film that answers that.
Right. I was like,
Thanos,
we know, but
we know, right?
Viewer, we know, but the average viewer is not going to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Candy. So this is where again you're comparing a 1 movie villain to a 10 movie villain. They made an arc for this dude. But like Galactus could have been, if they would slow down and been like, we're doing Galactus, like we're building up to this thing. Like Thor loses a planet, fucking Guardians of the Galaxy loses a couple of planets. Then you could have did that type of thing, and then you could build them out. But like they're just moving so fast that it's like you don't get to understand that particular character. This is gonna be oddly for me to be the one defending movies, but I think also, again, we were introduced to the Guardians. Imagine being introduced to the Guardians of the Galaxy in part 2. They're already a team. Like you're who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like Drax's thing of I finally accept the fact that my family's gone and you're my new family. Fucking Groot being like I was gonna die for you, and now I'm the little kid. It's like they sacrificed the development to get to the team. So now you're just seeing but to your point of Ben, the young lady that I know the actress, but like something Wolf, I think something Wolf, like
Natasha something. Yeah.
She's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was like, I remember Kerry Washington, so that's my version of like, I need to be like, can someone love me? And to your point, I thought that was gonna be a thing when he goes to the church. I thought that was gonna be the moment where she's like, hey, do you want to get a cup of coffee or something? Like he realizes, especially now you see his friends are having babies, he can be like, I can have love too. And I thought that was gonna be his arc, and that he was gonna get there. And they just like that, she meant nothing in really the big scheme of things, and I'm like, that was a lot. Johnny, I say him working the language did prove his intelligence. Like them on the ship, they showed everybody had a part to play. Like Ben was the pilot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Sue is is helping with the technology and stuff. And like she's helping with those ship. Like Rich Breed is the brains. Like Johnny was like, I'm back here, I'm doing the guns, but they've already got to that point. They've already got to that point where they see that each one of them has a part to play and we are a team. You know what I'm saying? So we missed, to save time in the universe, they missed the point of like who's fighting to be number one. Like I'm still need to be seen. Like the first 2 movies, and then even the poor one with Michael B. Jordan, they had to go through that. Like they had to work those first steps. You know what I'm saying? So I hear it. Like I thought, and then even with Sue, when she had to come to that conclusion, the logical conclusion that the only way to get Galactus in a vulnerable point is to put her child out there. That was her arc when she was like, I see it. And Richard to be like, I see it, but I don't want to say it, and I want to do something different. They had to flip the roles to be like, no, this is it. And I understand now. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was, again, the closest you're going to get in this movie is that, to me, that point.
I think, if you didn't want to go through the origin story arcs, I think the arc that was sitting there is, to your point, is the introduction of Franklin. What does that mean for these characters? What does that mean for Ben, who's now seeing his friends have a kid? And what does he mean? What does that mean for Johnny? Because Johnny has a moment where he's about to sacrifice himself, and he's like, tell Franklin Uncle Johnny loves him. And I'm like, I don't even remember you two in a scene together. Were you guys in a scene? Like, I don't know how that hits if I'm not seeing you. But you know what I mean? If it was a situation where he's sort of the reckless person, and now he's got to be, a
Yes,
little
the-
bit more
the adult in the room.
Yeah, then I think you kind of have a more of an arc that way. For me personally, this could just be me. I felt like Johnny was too much of a Reed light. Like, I've never seen this Johnny before. I almost wish, if you were gonna do the whole thing with the language, it was Johnny working to, like, they establish he loves the ladies, right? Maybe he goes to multiple people and he's like, you're linguistic? Okay, help me out with this or something. But this guy is just like, he's doing Reed. He's got everything on
All
the,
right, all right.
Yeah, he was a little bit too smart in my opinion.
He was a little bit too smart. Yeah,
it was too smart for me. That kind of bothered me. You know what I mean? I was like, how did he do that? I'm like, I can see Reed doing that, but you, Johnny? I mean, it got us to where we got, right. And to David's point, it allowed everyone to have a role, but still, the whole time I'm like, in this movie where someone turns invisible, someone turns into rock, someone can turn himself into flames, and someone can extend their digits or whatnot. This is the most unbelievable part. Is this like you? This is
where you take a stand. This is where you take a stand.
That's where I take the stand. I can see this kaiju level looking creature, this thing come down.
Of course.
And a silver woman on a big old surfboard coming down to her. But you learning a language in a matter of like a few weeks, I draw the line. You Rosetta Stone the shit out of that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's where I draw the line.
Well, real quick. Well, what I really irritated me, looking back at Jessica Alba's version, what really irritated me is they took this Latino woman, dark hair, dark eyes, put some fake ass contacts, made her a blonde-eyed white woman, and I was like, this is insulting. Like, this is fun. Like, who thought that was a good idea? But then looking at these characters, Johnny, he has contacts too. Like, I can see it, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Like it's distracting, and this is unnecessary. And but they look more natural. But I was like, oh my god, it was getting to me on that point. Like, this doesn't make you more siblings. I don't know if that's like a thing. Like, their blue eyes makes them who they are. Like, I don't if it was that kind of. Do y'all know as comic book, is the blue eyes important? That like they had to put contacts on these people.
I don't think that's a thing.
I think when your last Johnny Storm is Michael B. Jordan, and I love Michael B. Jordan, but I think when your last one is Michael B. Jordan, you go the opposite direction and you just like, we're gonna make these people as white as possible. We're gonna have blue eyes, and
we heard you.
Crap. We heard you guys. All right.
Hell, even the baby was probably whiter than all of them.
Right.
Yeah, so little CGI baby. We got to figure out this whole thing about CGI babies. Okay, we got to figure this out. Hollywood, we got to figure this out. You know what I mean? I mean, there's enough babies on this planet that we can kind of just make it at least look slightly more realistic. You know what I mean? Half the time, I'm just like, what are we doing? Now, granted, it wasn't as ridiculous as The Flash. Now, but I think that was supposed to be ridiculous on purpose. But there's a couple moments where I'm just like, what? I was like, is it, but, So.
Also, why is it when, speaking of the baby, like, why is it when you get to the end, Sue's laying on the ground, why are you putting the baby on top of her if you don't know what he can do? Like, that's a weird thing, because you all assume she's dead, right? It's like a really weird thing to do to a baby.
So the only way I try to justify that was it? I was thinking the same thing you do. I was like, the only justification is maybe to like say goodbye to your mama, like you didn't get to really embrace your mama, like
your dead mama.
Here you go, baby.
Touch your corpse, your mama's corpse.
The only thing I was missing was a tear falling down. I was waiting for a tear.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I was.
No, there was a tear when I was looking at the baby, and I thought the same. There was a tear right here, and I was like, if that tear falls on his mama and she magically wakes up, I thought that's what they were gonna do. I swear to God. And when all he did was lay on her. And I'm like, this is taking a little bit too long. And then all of a sudden she starts coughing. I'm like, I'm confused. Like, you need to give this boy some lights. He needs to have some lights. And like, then it makes sense. Then okay, he's Jesus. Like, he can be like, bam. And then but she was just like, okay, we're good now. I was like, huh? I was like, you missed the landing. You missed the landing right here. You put a lot of effort behind this. and I needed some lights. I needed some glowing hands, some glowing eyes, something. But
that's where you could tell this is an MCU movie, is that MCU cannot help themselves but putting a super extremely powerful character in a movie. And that was my biggest negative, is them putting Franklin Richards in this. I saw the previews of, I guess, when Ben Grimm's like, "Are you pregnant?" I didn't know the baby was going to be born. Personally, I thought like maybe like the end was like maybe the baby's going to be born. I didn't know that was going to be part of it. Like I saw the first trailer, like I looked at the second or the last trailer like after I watched this movie, but now I got this little model now where if it's like within like a couple of months of a movie coming out, I just try to ignore the trailer. So even when I saw this last Superman movie and they showed this latest Fantastic Four, no joke, I closed my eyes because I was like, this movie comes out in like 2 weeks. I'm like, no, I'm not watching. I was like, so I literally closed my eyes because I was like, I'm like, I want to be surprised. I had no idea we were going to get Franklin Richards to being born. And it kind of upset me because I'm like, oh my God, Marvel, you literally put the most powerful Marvel character in this movie. And literally at the end, he's a kid, which is where he really is in the comics, as a kid God, literally. You said Jesus. No, he's a God who can do anything pretty much. You know what I mean? And it's I was just like, oh my God, where we're gonna go from here. Obviously, with the whole thing with Doom at the end, I was like, oh, okay, that's the connection. You know what I mean? And that's how you do the whole universes. But I think they need to just stop putting these characters, because now that we have him, now we're like, well, where's the kid? Where's the kid? And I think that's why Marvel, even in comic books, they kept him as a kid, maybe as like a 6-year-old, 6 or 7 years old, and not like really an adult, except in certain comics, because I guess that's the way to nerf him, to make him like still an adolescent who still don't know his entire capability of his full powers. So they kept him as just this little 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid in the comic books, but still he's able to do insane stuff. You know what I mean? That even the Avengers can't. Avengers, Thanos, nobody can even handle. So I don't. I was just upset he was born. I was like, why did they have the kid be born? Like,
it's funny. It's funny you bring that up, and that's why I talk about the montage of like 2 movies that they shoved at the beginning of this movie, because that would have been the end of part 2. Like, oh, I'm pregnant. Like that scene would have been like, oh, what does that mean for the future? And then we would have moved on to like part 3, where it's like, okay, now she's pregnant, and then like maybe oh, I'm about to give birth, and then like and then they kind of move on from that. But they're like, we gotta establish these characters now, ready to roll. And it's like so now you're missing this kind of stuff. I was like, oh, that first part, I was like, oh, again, I'm late. I was like, oh, that's the end of a movie right there. Thank you very much. Credits roll, and then I'll see you next year or next movie, because like you've already seen them kick butt, and now the family's growing. They went from nothing to 4, and now they're going to be 4 to 5, and that's how you grow a universe. Unless you're shoving them on top of a big universe already, it's like we got other characters we got to get to. We got other stories that we got to get to. But yeah, I thought anyway. So what do you think? Is it too early for the kid? Well, how do you deal with the character that powerful?
Well, I think they did a really good job in. You talk about the trailers. Like there are scenes in the trailer where Stu is not pregnant. And then if you watch the movie, you're like, oh, they did those scenes over. They made 2 versions of the scene.
Yeah.
So to your point, Chris, like you think that he's not going to be born. You see those scenes and you're like, oh, they were totally just messing with us. I personally like that he was born. I thought that they handled, it was one of my positives that I wrote down. I really appreciated how they handled Sue's pregnancy. And I mean that from like a realistic point of view. There was her sitting on the toilet. At first, I was like, oh, that's really weird for a Marvel movie. But I was like, no, okay, she's pregnant. Come on. And then after that, she was pregnant. So, like, when she's in bed with Reed, he's about to put the bomb on her belly. The pregnancy scene is in, like, this cool action sequence with Silver Surfer is chasing them. There was a moment there where Reed is like, you could do this, honey. You could do this. And I was like, wait, her pants are still on. Like, and then you see her pants float off. It was those little things that I thought the director did really well to make it as realistic as possible, right?
Yeah.
And then once Franklin is born, you see that handoff, and you see the sun in the background, and the music and everything like that. You're like, okay, this kid is the kid. To your point, he's the God child, right? I thought all that was handled really, really well, and I think I think that was their attempt to give Reed an arc, which is actually no. I mean, really, what's the story without the kid? If at that point, what is the story? Because if Reed doesn't have the kid, he's not forced to kind of deal with that dilemma of being super intelligent, but also not knowing what the hell this kid is, and being kind of stumped by that. If you don't have the kid, you don't have Galactus. Like, what is Galactus doing? What is his objective? And if you don't have the kid, even though I'm really disappointed that they didn't lean into this more, you don't have the world being like, give over your kid, because that's a great predicament to have. My understanding is that either in the script or they shot it and maybe it got cut, that there was supposed to be more to that. There's supposed to be people breaking into the building, taking Franklin, and they're like, Galactus, come get this kid, kind of thing. I wish that was in it, because that's humanity. We can't act like Sue Storm's going to go out there, give one speech about family, and everyone's going to be like, all right, let's die together. Let's do it.
I was waiting for someone to do a little Superman throw a can at her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that she's like giving, it's like throw a can at her, like, give us a damn baby now. Like,
yeah. I mean, so
I was like, no, she went by herself too.
She went by herself at first with the kid.
With the kid.
Like, no,
with the kid.
Like, come on. I was like, I know you're powerful, but that's like you surrounded. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. That's a good point.
Like, come on. Like,
that's
the whole time I'm just thinking, like, all I had to take is just one person to be like, zoink, and just like run off. It's like I know you were invisible, but you didn't see this coming. You know what I mean? Like, just grab that damn little kid. And that was another thing that kind of upset me, is that when they did the switch off, I thought it was a good idea to do the switch, but then you literally leave Herbie the robot all by himself. You know what I mean? Like, in this building, I was like, I thought that was kind of insane. Like, I to your point about giving the plot right with the baby, I agree in a sense. Matter of fact, I even love that scene at the very end with the car seat thing. I can totally relate to that, because oh my god, when my son was first born, and I'm trying to put that car seat together, it looks so easy, right? Yeah. And then you put it together, and you're like, no, like, because the thing is red, but you have to wait, you have to push it down until it turns green, and the thing's not going green. And then Altrina's just wait. My wife's just waiting with the baby. We're like, okay, because the hospital won't let you go away, like won't let you leave with the child until you get the car seat and everything prepared. So the whole time I'm just like trying to fix it. I'm like, what the hell? So I was like, oh my god. When I saw these three men trying to figure this out, I was like, very realistic. Very realistic, awesome. No. My complaint isn't like the baby in the sense of like he was annoying like Crypto was, right? And Superman. My annoyance is that now that we have this character now in here, now it's like having what's her name, Captain Marvel, right? Whereas it's like, okay, now I'm going to be looking out for it now. Like, you know what I mean? Now everything is going to be dumb if all of a sudden a big threat comes down and. And she just is off world somewhere. It just this kid literally can create universes. He can resurrect the dead. He can create matter out of nothing. He can do pretty much anything. And then now I'm thinking like, now if a character dies, I'm thinking like, okay, just bring Franklin now. You know what I mean? That is the issue I kind of have as far as him. I love the moments they have with the kid or whatnot, and I love why Galactus is coming down because of him. It's more. I wish they could have found a different avenue, because now that he's now here in the universe, all bets are off now. It's just like, you know what I mean? Unless all of a sudden he's just trapped in a different universe, and that's how you explain it.
So maybe. Again, maybe it's not comic based, but maybe he like has to go to another place to be like to keep the universe, like Loki, right? Like Loki's dead, no, he's alive. He's holding all the universes together. Like maybe they give him that kind of arc where like he can't be there. Like he's like, I have to go. I have a bigger purpose, so I can't just be the baby in the family, and therefore he won't be around. But we don't know how I'm sure we're going to be like, what happened to the Thunderbolts? But anyway, I want to do a positive and realistic. And I'm glad you guys brought that up. I felt the movie was very grounded for what it was. The fact that it said, hey, we got to get the space shuttle ready. It's going to take 20 hours. I need it in 16. it took time for it to rise. Like you could understand that it has to go against the Earth's gravity. It has to get to another ship and then fly there. Like it took time, and that makes sense. It took Galactus time to get to Earth. That makes sense. Like there's a lot of things that you're like, this feels real, that this could happen, you know. And I like that. I like the details to be like, this is not magic.
Yeah,
things just happen.
I would say
you know,
even when they're in the wormhole and they're being chased by Silver Surfer, the fact that Johnny's trying to shoot her and he can't shoot straight. There is the curve. Now, we don't know if that's really what would happen, but the fact that you even put that detail in, I'm like, I love it. You know,
right? You were like, there's problems. There's real like physics we have to get around. Like we can't just do this stuff. Like, you know, yes. And then rethinking through, how am I going to move a planet? Like that I got to figure this thing out. Like, you know, like, and he's trying to come up with the right equation to get to the right energy. How much is that going to take? Like it clears out a city for me to move an egg. How we're going to do the whole Earth? Like they have to think through that, right? But that's his superpower, though. Really, like his brain. You know what I'm saying? So they wanted to show you that, you know, in action, right?
I will say this though, since you brought it up, two things that I did not like about Reed. So he did this with an egg. He never actually tested moving a person from one. So the whole time when they're setting it up, I'm like, okay, so you're going to get the Earth over there, but do you know about the people? Like, do you know they're going to be okay? Do you know, like they skipped over that to be like, oh yeah, we're just moving the planet. So that was one thing. And then the second thing, Chris, you had mentioned this with the car seat, but I thought about this in a different scene, is when they're trying to trap Galactus. So I have an issue with Galactus getting off his ship because I don't know why he didn't just beam the baby up. You just showed me with Silver Surfer that he could do that.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, Reed, why wouldn't you put like a synthetic fake baby in the car seat? Yes. Because the second they took the real baby, I was like, I get trying to blind him, but you don't know if that's going to work. You made this whole argument that you think of every variable, even the worst possible variables, but you just left an empty car seat.
Yeah.
Like he can't see that shit.
And it wasn't tinted. Like, can you imagine if it was tinted? If it was a tinted car seat. And that's what I thought they were going to do with the baby. I was like, okay, maybe Galactus sees the baby and then they close the container. And it was blacked out, right?
Right.
And then you contain them with you change it with another blacked out one, and then you know, I mean, I guess they thought that he did not have perfect vision or something, and I mean, you know, then you leave the damn robot by himself. Why'd you leave him? You know, what's the robot going to do? I thought maybe the robot's going to have start having machine guns.
Right.
Or I thought the building was going to have weapons because, you know, you're superheroes, bro. Like you should be living in a fortress because somebody might try to break in and take your baby, like at this particular point. But hey, guys, we got teleporters now, right? So why didn't they just leave him in the thing and then teleport him at the right moment to make sure that Galactus got into the field? You don't have to move the thing, just teleport the baby, and he would have been fine. You know what I'm saying? Like use your own technology that we are applying to this situation. You know, but I didn't think about any scientist would be like, we have to do human trials. Hey, Johnny, come over here. You know, you can fly. So worst comes to worst, you can just fly back where we might put you.
What if they did use a living thing? What makes you think that egg wasn't fertilized? Maybe that egg was fertilized, and there was a baby chicken there, and then boom, it was a cut scene, just like they cut John Malkovich's scene.
Well, they did,
Which I'm still upset about. I don't know why they cut that scene out. They should have kept him in here, but whatever. Okay, you know what I mean. But
it's funny. It's funny you should bring this up because I thought about The Fly, which is a great scientific movie where, like, you know, transporting can become problematic. But to your point, when he got the egg on the other end, I thought he was gonna make some scrambled eggs to be like, this egg is intact, like genetically, like everything works, like, you know, and then like, oh, you never opened that egg up, bro. That it could be empty inside, right? It could be like you don't know what happened. That's truly, I thought he was gonna make some breakfast. That's what I thought, and then we can prove that it works. This is an organic thing. It's organic tissue or something in it. So that's what I thought, and then that just didn't go anywhere. So as you so again, I'm sure were you also thinking, okay, I'm gonna see the Thunderbolts, right? Because we saw the Thunderbolts, and I'm like, where's this damn scene where, like, you know, Reed and crew are? I'm assuming they're on the ship and they're flying through. I'm like, why did we not see that, or the event that gets us to that?
Mm. You
I'm
might have.
only
You might have. I mean,
yeah.
you saw Doom, or at least you saw Franklin with Doom, right? So
Mhm.
who's to say he's not going to kidnap him?
Okay. So he
And that's what I'm thinking too. Maybe I because at first I was upset but then I was kind of thinking like you, thinking like, now that Doom has the child, that will be the springboard into Doomsday. And then what you saw at the very end of Thunderbolts was actually literally the beginning of Doomsday, essentially. You know what I mean? But you know, but to David's point, it does kind of confuse you a little bit when you're literally watching Thunderbolts and knowing in like 2 months' time Fantastic Four is coming out. So then when you see that 4, your expectation is that, you know what I mean? Opposed to maybe like this movie came out like 9-10 months later, something. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like we're still going to probably be thinking if it was 10 months later, like, oh, we get to see.
I want to see that shit.
You know,
even
Right.
if the kidnapping happens and they're like, he took him to another world, we gotta go. Like, even if they just jump in the ship, we're gonna make it, baby. We're gonna get, and then they take off. That's all you need. Like, we don't need to see. You don't want to see them go through the port. We just need to see them take off, and then it's like, got it. Like now we're here. Now we understand what that scene is supposed to mean in context. Because right now it doesn't make any sense. You know,
Well,
in that.
That's one of my big issues with the post-credit scene in general. Like, I feel like if Marvel was batting 1,000, you give us that tease, right? You're not batting 1,000. You have to like shore some stuff up so that I care about the next movie. Right now, you know what I mean? Like you said, like they could have showed him take him, and then Sue's like, well, we got to go after Franklin, whatever the case is, or you show Robert Downey Jr. I only say that because
too expensive. Too expensive.
No,
too expensive.
which I
They
get.
already spent $200 million on this. You want them to spend another 200?
Right.
See, but the
Like,
problem with that is, at least for my screening, everybody saw that moment, and it was nothing. There wasn't like a oh snap. It was nothing. It was super quiet. You got to build so much excitement because right now you didn't do this 10 years in advance. You don't have Thanos level storytelling. You have to make this make sense quicker than you did with Thanos. And I think that was a missed opportunity. I understand the budgetary reason for it, but like if you had Robert Downey, everybody and their grandmother would have been like, "Oh snap!" But right now, all you have is a cloth. You have I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's the real Victor. I don't know if that's Robert Downey Jr. I don't know who.
I have a different theory. My theory is they messed up even announcing Robert Downey Jr. was going to be Doom, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Here's the deal. If we did not see any of that, if we did not even know the next film was going to be Doomsday, right? Because that's the thing. We had no idea about Thanos was going to be the next big thing until the funny thing is they didn't even cast Josh Brolin as Thanos at the time at the end of the Avengers, right? We saw the face or whatever, but it wasn't Josh Brolin, it was someone else, right? And people got excited, right? They didn't have to have an A-lister, but the thing is because it came out of nowhere, right? I mean, yes, we do know that Doom is a big villain in Fantastic Four, and you know what I mean? But if we didn't already not know that Doomsday was going to be the next film, right? And we didn't even know about Robert Downey Jr. or like just anything. We didn't even know that Doomsday was going to be the next project. And if they would just kept everything the way they did it with that post-credit scene, I think everyone would have been excited, even without showing any face. Absolutely. I think, but the thing is, though, we already know it's coming, so the cat's already out the bag. You see what I'm saying?
No, I definitely do. I mean,
take.
But do you think they could have at least, instead of doing like the mask off, could you have seen him? Like, then you don't have to get Robert Downey Jr. It's the same like Thanos. You don't have to get the actor. You just, the problem with the tease, I feel like for me is to what you guys are saying, I'm not seeing the connective tissue. There's a lot of storytelling you have to do in the middle of that. There's a lot of storytelling you have to do in the middle of Thunderbolts because when they enter their space, they're talking about Sam and how there was this big fight between Sam and Bucky, right? We don't have any of that. It's been months now. They talk about there's a disturbance in space. Is that about Dr. Doom? Is that about something else? Like the sense of continuity isn't there. Where to what you guys were saying, if I saw Doctor Doom, even if he has his mask, let's say it's not
Robert Downey.
Robert Downey. Yeah, he's got his mask on. You see him with the kid, and then they disappear, and it's like, we got to go get Franklin. Then I'm like, okay, I'm seeing a connective tissue.
So I think they did too much with Thunderbolts. I think they were trying to make Thunderbolts more relevant to say, and they're like, oh, look, Fantastic Four. And I'm like, if you take that out, then it's like, oh shit, like him just sitting there
Totally
next to
agree.
the kid
Yeah.
is enough. And you're like, I gotta see where this is going. But once you try to tie it to a movie, like you said, coming out the same year, you gotta tie it together, or is this a randomness? And like you said, they put out too much and too soon. So people are like, you what else are you gonna do to make me go, I know this is, Doom is coming. I know who's behind that hood. I know that. So that's not a surprise. But again, back in the day, I was with Chris when we saw the Avengers, and he was like, oh my God. And I was like, I don't know who that is. But he was like, oh shit. Like Mark, everybody just went crazy. And I was like, I don't. But again, that we didn't see him again for another 4 or 5 years, to be real. Like because they didn't know necessarily what to do. They were just like Avengers Initiative, Thanos. And then eventually, once they started getting going, they're like, okay, now we got the Infinity Stone together. Now let's put it out there. And then people were ready, right? Mm-hmm. So I think they did too much with Thunderbolts. Yeah. I think they did too much with Thunderbolts. So this means nothing. Because now, if you just would have saw the mask, you would have been like Doomsday. Like now we're gonna bring this thing together.
And it wasn't even just the end of Avengers that kind of proves that when you put like surprises at the end, that it plays off dividends. I mean, if you look at Spider-Man across the universe, into the universe, across the universe. I guess it's a sequel, right? Which one?
Into the Universe is the first one.
Into the universe is a sequel. The end, Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse. Yeah. At the end, when all of a sudden you see Miles Morales is like the Prowler, right? At the end of that, and you realize, oh shit, he's going to be the villain of the. Like the audience went crazy, right? You know what I mean? It wasn't like they announced it at Comic-Con the year before and say, but guess what? Now granted it's an animated film and it's not like they don't feel like they have to always reveal big announcements when it comes to animated movies compared to live action and whatnot. But that could have been a whole lot in the sense of just like literally just kind of keeping it guarded, you know what I mean? I think could you imagine, just think about it, if we did not know about RDJ being Doom, right? And just like they just kind of kept it on a hush, right? And then to your point, if they did show his face, that literally no one would be talking about anything right now. No one would be talking about not even the Epstein files right now. People would be talking about like, yo, the Epstein files, yes, they still didn't release that shit, but yo, did you see who they released as far as Doom? It's like RDJ's coming back. That would have been crazy. But then it's just like they just kind of did, or maybe if it was closer.
Well, no, my problem is the only way we know he's Doom because we know he's Doom. If they would again, nothing. Baby, all of a sudden you see the mask first, so you understand, okay, it's Doom, and he takes it off, and you see Tony Stark, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Like it's not gonna be he's doing. I think at least I would be like, what the fuck is Tony doing alive? Like it would have caused a whole other conversation, and then there would have to be like, no, we brought the actor back to play another character. He's actually playing Doom. Like it would be a whole other what the world is happening right now. Like, but people would think Tony somehow is back alive, and then that would be even. But to your point, people would have been blowing up. People would be, it's too big now. It's too big now. Like they have to tell what the future is going to be.
Well, it's too big, and they're not batting 1,000. So they have to keep telling you to get you hyped, right? Because remember, this was supposed to be Kang. Let's not forget about that. This
was all supposed to lead to Kang Dynasty.
Right. No, Feige claims this was not going to lead to. But why are you making a Kang Dynasty if this was not leading to Kang?
Yes.
But
he is.
No, he's got to stop doing interviews.
He's stepping down, so that's a plus. So he's stepping down. Is it this year? I think so.
Is it this year or next year?
Or maybe next year. Maybe it is next year. I think it's after Doomsday. After Doomsday.
After Doomsday, they're gonna reset. Yeah, and they try. Yeah.
Well, after Secret Wars.
Yeah. Because they got two more. Because the Russo brothers are coming back for a little, and they're shooting them back to back. So So this,
So was that 2028 then? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's damn near.
If they keep on schedule, it's supposed to be 2027.
7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, that'll still be like maybe another year before Blade, possibly, or before Mahershala Ali is.
Oh, you
before
think
his
Blade's
60th
no
birthday.
Blade's not coming? What? No, Blade's not coming.
No. I saw that was a meme. That was a meme the other day. Apparently, the meme said just to let y'all know, today is the 6-year anniversary that Mahershala Ali was announced as playing Blade. 6 years,
Which is
6
insane.
years.
It's
I'm like,
insane.
Jesus.
Wow.
Well,
That's
and
what
then
you're saying. No, sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say just to that comment. Did you hear what Feige said? He was like, "Look, we don't want to just put Blade in a leather coat and have him go fight vampires." And I'm like, "That's the whole concept. I don't know what you're trying to do, but that's the whole idea of him."
Jesus.
No,
Christ.
I think they have to reveal so much more because, I mean, the whole thing with Majors happened. They're not getting the box office that they want. The shows are not doing as well as they want. I think the problem with something like this though is like, remember back in the day we're in the early phases, you had nothing in between, right? So it was like you got a teaser like this, and then the next movie you're like, yeah, the next project, you're like, yeah, this is it. Right now you're going to get Eyes of Wakanda, and then you're going to get Wonder Man.
Oh, that's right.
And I don't know where. Eyes of Wakanda is its own thing, I'm assuming, but like Wonder Man, I don't know where that fits in
any
this.
of this. Yeah.
And I think that's where Marvel's really messing up. They didn't take advantage of it's a multiverse. So why don't we just do what you did with Fantastic Four? Have people on different Earths.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about anything until you get to your climax. You know what I mean? Like I can just worry about this story. I could just worry about that story. But our thinking, because this is the way they've trained us, is how is it connected? How is this connected to this? How is this? Because I'm still wondering what's going on with like Shang-Chi.
Yes. And the rings, right?
And the rings. I'm still wondering. That was what, 6 years ago? However long it was?
6-7 years ago. And those rings were talking to something in space. Like that was the post-credit scene. Like it was talking to space. Like what happened to that? What was it talking to? Like
and the thing that annoys me with that post-credit too. So you have them talking, and I know they're not the Avengers, but you have a semblance of the Avengers.
Yes.
And then you go into Brave New World, and it's like, I want the Avengers back together. And you're like, what are you talking about? They're sort of already connected to each other. Like, Sam, don't be upset that you're not part of it, but they're kind of like connected to each other. But that's the thing. I think they were so confident that Kang was going to be the thing.
Yeah.
And now they are speed racing a Doctor Doom story that may or may not make sense. I don't know, because you're going to have to bring together all these pieces that you didn't connect in any way.
Yeah.
Well, that's the rumor that they're saying when you brought up Wonder Man. The rumor now is saying that with that show, the crescendo at the end is basically Sam approaching him and basically saying, "Hey, look, the old Avengers are gone. I'm now me as Captain America. You want to get on board. You want to join. You know what I mean? Which is when you look at the teaser or the very quick teaser you see from Wonder Man or whatever, it's like he's kind of auditioning to become a superhero. You know what I mean? But acting wise, though, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, in a way, what I think what they're probably going to try to do is try to establish these characters through either other shows or other movies. So then when we get to this possible 3-hour plus movie or whatnot, we don't have to spend as much time trying to go through each character's backstory, kind of similar to Infinity War in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like what David said, we also have Shang-Chi's out there. You know what I mean? So we have Shang-Chi. We have all these characters that was introduced after Endgame. You know what I mean? We could have Rocket Raccoon's new Guardians crew that he got now. You know what I mean? So, so we got some of these newly established characters after Endgame that maybe I'm assuming they're going to try to go with, so then we can just kind of speed track, the character stuff, with that, and now having Fantastic Four. But
they've already established the cast there are shooting those 2 movies. So like it's there's no mysteries who's gonna be in that movie. You know what I'm saying? So like so it's they really are, you already know the characters. It's just who's the unifying threat that's good, and how do they bring Doom again back to our Earth, bring the Fantastic Four with them, you know, like I said, chasing them, we guess. And then all of a sudden everybody else is gonna rally around Reed and be like, who the fuck are you? It's like, well, I'm the smartest man on Earth. You are? Well,
not our Earth.
Not our Earth, but let's just get to this. And then all of a sudden he's gonna be like, okay, guys, follow me. I just met you, bruh. Like, I don't know you. And then we gotta have that conversation. It's like, it's gonna be a lot of, and shouldn't the baby save the day, according to you two? I mean, shouldn't he be able to just beat Doom and be done with this?
Well, the problem is you have the baby, you have, to what you said, Chris, you have Miss Marvel, and then you also have, I don't know what her superhero name is, but from Secret Invasion.
Oh, I was about to say Super Squirrel. Super Squirrel.
Yeah.
No.
Dude,
they just forgot about her. Please forget about her.
Well, it's funny.
And you got Bob. Don't forget, we got
and
Bob.
you got Bob.
And
Yeah,
you got Bob. You got Sentry. Yes. So actually, no, seriously. Again, it was a meme, but like Kevin Feige in one of his interviews, he said that certain characters who you're just not going to see again, and I think Super Skrull is one of them. Like it's like just let that go and let's move forward. So, but I'm like, that was some randomness. But I'm just saying, like we said, they have to lower down these characters to make the other ones seem relevant, and then they're all being a team. And again, that's why I felt like they balanced that in this movie. Everybody had a part to play, and I like that. You know, they seem somewhat equals. You know, in their role, and I didn't feel anybody had to be like lessened so other ones could shine. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was cool. What's up, Chris?
It's just, I don't know, but I think we could have had a little bit more. I mean, we did not necessarily need like a whole backstory or stuff, but I could have had more of the stuff with Ben, right? You know what I mean? Actually, I mean, to be honest, here's the deal. I love Michael Chiklis, and he was cool for what he did for Fantastic Four, even though he was maybe a little bit too grumpy all the time. But I love this Ben. You know, because matter of fact, this one was more comic book accurate in a sense. You know what I mean? He's like a normal guy. You know what I mean? You know, he just does his thing. You know, he's actually like a teddy bear and, you know, in heart and everything. Yeah. And I wanted more of that. You know what I mean? It just, none of these characters were kind of fleshed out, you know, at all. And I felt the fact that they were family and they loved each other. That part, I think they did a great job at. You know what I mean? And they will any one of them would have sacrificed themselves for each other. You know what I mean? Even though Ben's like the only character that's not even related. You know what I mean? Ben is literally the brothers to all of them in a sense, right? So that was felt, but it was too many. It was like the beats were so short. You know what I mean? Quicksilver's moment with her, too freaking short. You know, I needed a little bit more, just a little bit, and it just, you know, and that was, I don't know if other people kind of feel the same way.
True. I mean, true. So, and I felt, again, you could say the same thing about when they threw Black Panther and Spider-Man into Civil War. Like, up until this point, every character had their own movie, so you knew who they were as part of their journey. And they're just like, hey, you got Spider-Man, don't worry about that. You got a Black Panther, don't worry about that. And then they kind of put you there. And then later on, it was like, now we're gonna get, you know, a backstory, so you got some more family and that kind of thing. But right now, just take them as is. But this is,
but Civil War wasn't their movie though. Civil War wasn't a Black Panther film. Yeah, you know what I mean? It was like they could have. There's only it's 4 characters here. You didn't have to go like a full hour on each character. You didn't have to do all that. You know what I mean? A little 10-15 minutes on each one, like that would have been all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it just, that would have been fine. I would have been good with that. You know, we just didn't get it. You know, so I mean, like we got more. I'll say this too. You brought up Black Panther. I mean, you want to talk about Black Panther? Within like the first 30 minutes, we got like a nice little emotional arc on just Black Panther's pops and all that, you know, way more than we probably got with any character in this just Fantastic Four film. You know what I mean? So I just don't. It's just, I get you. I don't know. That's just a
no. But that, I would think that speaks to the credit of the movie, that you wanted, that you saw characters that you like enough that you're like, I want to see how they got here. That's what I'm saying. Like we see some characters
in a way. Sometimes that's just an error of the movie.
Fantastic Four, though. I'm not a fan of Fantastic. Yeah, it's not that. It's not that I'm gonna be honest. The only one I'm a fan of, really, as far as any Fantastic Four character, period, it's Ben Grimm. But this was the first time where I'm like, okay, I kind of feel for Sue Storm, and I'm about to get there. Oh, you just robbed me. You know what I mean? Same thing with Quicksilver. I mean, I said Quicksilver, Silver Surfer. I was still kind of not sure how to think about this particular Silver Surfer. I love Silver Surfer in the comics, but I was like, I wasn't really on board with this one yet. And then all of a sudden, it kind of got me there, and then it just took me out of it. It just kind of just yanked me out. So I wasn't that invested in her as I possibly wanted to. Like, I was getting there, and then they just kind of robbed. It just kind of just took me out. You know what I mean? So, trust me, because like I said before, Fantastic Four, there's a list of characters who I just think, as far as comic book wise, are the weakest ones. And in my opinion, in comic book wise, I think no one dead last for me is Fantastic Four and Wonder Twins. Okay, for DC. Wonder Twins is probably dead last. Right? You know what I mean?
On that level.
And I'll be damned if James Gunn's like, yeah, we're gonna do a Wonder Twins. It better be rated R. It better be like Peacemaker. You know, if you do Wonder Twins. So this one I got connected to. I was like, this is the first time I'm like, damn, I'm actually getting connected to these characters. How about why are you robbing me of this? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, I really don't give a shit about Reed Richards. I don't like Reed Richards. I think he's an asshole. He is an asshole. But there was moments I'm like, damn, I fell for him. But then it was so quick, and then you're just moving off of it. And then,
Well, and I think that's
No, I was gonna say, where's Galactus's ship?
Yeah, he gets off of it, and it's gone.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's a big ass thing to talk about. Like, that was probably my biggest plot hole, and probably the biggest thing in the galaxy is this big old ship that's sitting outside the Earth. And we need to get to that. We need to figure out what's going on with it. How does it work? Is someone going to come for it? What do we? None of this is discussed. Like, the ship was not discussed. I was very scratching my head on all of that. About that. Two things that they tried to get into detail about.
Ooh, maybe they used their ship and they put their ship into his ship, and that's how they get to the other universe. And then
that would be awesome. Yeah. Like,
maybe that's what they'll do.
That's a story. Like, that's a story. And I was like, what happened to that big ass ship? I was like, it's I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. What's going on?
No, I agree with you on that. I mean, the ship is literally hovering over the ocean. Like, a little kid could have pointed and be like, "What is that up there?"
Well, don't forget, yo, we still got on another Earth, like a freaking celestial hand still standing in the water. And then they're just now figuring out, like, hey, maybe we can get some adamantium out of this, possibly. Like, it only took 8 years.
For them to acknowledge it.
But even, I mean, we're talking about like the state of Marvel for a second there. Like, even just think about that. You decided, you have Franklin, you have Doomsday, and you have Secret War coming up. You're gonna reset this thing, X-Men, right? And then you're just like, nah, man, I'm gonna, the Celestial, I'm gonna deal with that finally, because everyone keeps complaining about it, and that's gonna be the source of adamantium. I'm never gonna go back to it. I don't feel like going back to it because I got this other thing that can solve my problem over here. I don't know. But yeah, I still go back to, why did Galactus get off his ship? What was the reason that he had to get off to physically grab Franklin? And it wasn't like he got off in the middle where Franklin was. He was like, getting off in the ocean. I'm gonna walk all the way over here because
that's how Godzilla did it. Godzilla did it.
Now he had nowhere to park. He's like, okay, if I fall, I can't fall in the building until I do. Did
anyone of y'all thought he was about to holler at Lady Liberty? He looked at Lady Liberty a little too long. I was like, we about to holler at her. He's like, oh, you ain't real. Never mind. Like,
Well, so again, I don't know his comic origins, but in this one, he said, I was once like you, and I got put into this. Yeah. So I was like, was he on Earth at some point, and was he an astronaut that got caught up in some cosmic thing, and he got turned into Galactus? Because it's like, maybe he was like, oh, I remember this place, like I remember her. Like, that's how I took it. Like, it was some recognition. That's what I thought. But again, they don't explain, like you said, his origin or what he means by I was like you once. In that sense. Like, what do you mean by that?
I think in the comics, I could be wrong, but I think he meant that he was like a normal person on a different planet.
Okay.
and then this
Okay.
hunger created, and he became more and more Galactus.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
the story. Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't know why he was so confused by Lady Liberty, or whatever. But that was a little bit weird. I was like, I don't want this to go a different direction.
Isn't that
But
interesting though? Even at this world, they have a Lady Liberty though. I mean, I ain't gonna. Well, whatever. I mean, let me not. let me leave that alone. I'm like, huh?
They don't want to leave no mysteries. They don't want to leave no mysteries.
Yeah,
no mysteries. But where on
Okay.
Earth? But where on Earth they are at? Because even Terry was like, "What's up? What year is this? Like, this is a different Earth, babe. Like, this is like the Jetsons, like it's the past, but it's also the future. And let's just let that slide, you know. So we got things we got to get through. But this was the first time they actually, again, kind of justified the multiverse theory. Like, it's real. Like, there's another universe. So this is actually the first movie that did that. To be like distinct Earth. And there's another Earth, and then we're actually gonna bring the two Earths, you know, some part of the two Earths together, which is odd. This is the first time they actually got to that point of like, you know, correct.
Unless you want to include Spider-Verse, but I mean, I guess it's animated and that's Sony, so maybe not. Maybe
Like that's a whole other thing. But good point. But I was saying, yeah, that would be a whole But that's interesting that they, again, to show you the short-sightedness. But Kang stayed in, and he didn't get convicted, and da. The character was going nowhere. Like Loki beat him, and Ant-Man beat him. Like he was not the villain. He just was not the villain. It would have been stupid to say that the Avengers are gonna fight a infinite number of a person. That's every movie. That's every Avengers movie. You know, that they just have to kill a whole bunch of nameless, you know, like entities. You know, and that's not a big villain. You know, like and that's all they made him to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why, you know, I'm grateful to Feige for what he did to get us here, but he's got to move on. You got to get a new team in there who have a new vision for this thing. I'm hoping they do that with the reboot, because no matter how he tries to spin it, it still doesn't make sense. Like, why would you even go in that direction? Because to your point, remember when he was at the premiere of Ant-Man, he was like, "This is gonna change the MCU forever. Kang is coming," and then Kang gets beat, and you're like, all right, well, why do I care about this guy? Like, that was the thing with Thanos. That was so great. It's like, yeah, he popped up in Avengers. Then you didn't see him, I think, until Guardians.
Yeah.
You never got a sense of this guy until it was finally time to use him. But with Kang, they were just like, nah, just throw him out there, man. He's gonna get a beat like 5 or 6 times, and then the audience is gonna care when all of them are here, because
why?
Reasons? I don't know.
I mean, Killmonger got one movie, and everyone. Well, I guess 2 if you want to include, you know, Wakanda Forever in this whole scene. But one movie, and people like, even today was like, you know, they're like, yeah, Thanos was right, and they were like, so was Killmonger. You know what I mean? And I want to get back to those types of villains, those type of characters where we like can kind of give a shit. Even Loki. Now, granted, to your point, it did kind of take several movies with Loki as well, you know, to the point where we finally got his TV show. We kind of understood him more and understand that he's not just all bad, you know what I mean? And there's layers to him in a sense. But unfortunately with Doom, he's just going to be there. When we get introduced to Doom, it's just going to be like, we're going to hopefully have like somehow, and this, I don't know how long of a movie this will be, enough time to introduce him and still have the world or universe to be conveyed to fight each other, and also having the X-Men from 2 different universes apparently. I don't know how we're going to do that with Doom. Now, granted, RDJ is probably one of the best actors of our generation and whatnot, but even he can't necessarily just kind of develop like all of this himself. You know what I mean? With all of, you know, I just don't see it. You know, I'd like to be proven wrong, but in this massive movie, I don't know if we'll have I don't know if we'll get another Thanos anytime soon. You know, in my opinion, I don't know.
No, I think you have to wait for the X-Men. I think that you'll have to set somebody up there like a Mr. Sinister or Apocalypse or whatever, and then tell that. I don't think you're going to get it here. The thing with Doctor Doom too is we don't even know if he's the villain of Secret Wars. Like, we assume he is because of the comic books, but we don't know for sure. So imagine if they wrap up Tony in one movie. That's just like, all right.
I was thinking, well, they're shooting him back to back, which makes me
Mhm.
think that he's going to be involved in both. Because it would be odd, like it would be odd for them to get another big bad just to do another standalone movie, right? Because Doctor Strange is already starting to fight this fight, right? That was the whole point of his part 2, right? Like that's why he had the third eye and he went to the thing, so he's already involved in this. But again, Doom wasn't even a thing when that started, so
Yeah.
it's like, how are they going to put that together? So really, Doctor Strange should be leading this effort, and they should just be getting on board, at this point. So I don't know.
I feel like
unless-
he might be the Franklin Richards in the next one, because at one point, I know in the comics, there is a future version of Franklin Richards who comes back to start warning. Like basically what they do with his character, because I think, and I understand where Marvel was put in a weird position, because Franklin Richards was so powerful that they only used him sparingly and kind of only used him to like essentially kind of warn folk. Basically, they kind of turned him to like the Watcher in a sense.
Yeah.
Come in different universes and warn folks like, yo, so-and-so is coming. Get this person. I'll help open up this universe so you can grab them. I'll create this out of nothing. And then you now have that. By the way, I gotta go. And then he just leaves. You know what I mean? I feel like, because at one point, Charlize Theron's character, I always blank out on her name, that we saw in Doctor Strange. She was the one that kind of helped Franklin to warn the world the universe about the big threats. It was after World War Hulk. I forgot what it was. And matter of fact, they even used Galactus, and that's where Galactus actually helped them out to essentially. He basically was a Franklin resurrected Galactus. So Galactus, because Galactus was kind of fulfilled in a sense. He no longer was hungry, and he was dead though. So Franklin used his powers to resurrect him, and Galactus basically helped the entire universe save like all of the universes essentially. So and it looks like the way that Doctor Strange 2 ended looks like that might now be Strange, to your point. So I don't know. Which is why I think introducing this kid was kind of maybe an interesting thing.
Well, they may forget about all of that and just be like, "Hey, Doctor Strange, how's it going?" And then we just start over. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, "Don't worry about that." There may be one of those things that go, "Don't worry about that." Now we're resetting him, and this is how we need to use him to get this new, Doctor Doom storyline going.
Yeah.
But the Russo brothers are doing both of those movies. They're gonna try to likely follow the the Infinity War Endgame kind of model. Because it worked. Because they let's go back to what works. And let's see if we can do that. And again, they end the Avengers. They end it, so then you can start over with like a new again. So I guess the old X-Men will finally die or something to be like, we're going back to our universe. So we may get that Deadpool Wolverine perspective where it's like, this is really Fox world. And and these where the X-Men are at, and they go, and it's like, okay, we did our part, and now DC, like Disney World, now you got to build your own, you're gonna get your own, new Professor X and Storm and that kind of stuff, because you can't bring them in, not kill them, and then be like, where's the X-Men? Someone's gonna be like, where's the X-Men? And where you been? And where are you going to be in the future? Unless they all get wiped out. And
I think they'll probably just do the typical thing and just kind of send them back to their universes. I think that's all they're going to do. I don't see them killing them off.
Well, if you go by the comics, though, Franklin smashes the universes together. So at the end of it, there's only one universe, I believe.
Yeah.
So there's not really a universe for them to go back to. I think some of them will die. I think some people from the 616 are going to die. I think you have to set up that, look, it's just the survivors going forward, and then this new group, the new X-Men, the new Tony, or whatever the case is. So you have to kill some people.
Yeah, I think some people are going to die. Yeah.
Like, I think Thor is going to die.
Yeah. Yes, I was about to say him.
Yeah.
I was about to say Thor. I think Professor X is going to go again. This will be the third time he died, actually. That's it would. Yeah. It would. Damn it. Damn it. Leave Patrick Stewart alone. The dude's 90 something.
He got vaporized.
Yeah.
He got killed by the Wolverine clone.
Mm-hmm.
He got killed by
so this
that's what I'm saying. 4 times. It's 4 times because he got killed
and then by Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch,
right? Yeah. Yeah.
in his head. So
That's
what I
right. So
yeah, so this will be the fourth time essentially.
He
So
just can't.
if they
He
do
can't
it.
stick around, man. This guy can't.
He
Stick
can't.
around.
He can't. I mean, yeah. That's the thing, yo. Patrick Stewart. He got other stuff he's doing. He's doing Broadway stuff here. He was doing the other season of Picard, the last season of that.
Yeah.
So he's still doing. He's very active for a much older man. So props to him. No, I think characters will die, but I don't think to your point, David. I don't think that literally every Fox property character from the past is just like, yo, we're just going to wipe them out. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to go that route. You know what I mean? Especially if now, granted, I don't know if they're also going to be bringing in Deadpool and Wolverine characters, like, you know what I mean? And that would be awesome if they do. They bring in like the Gambit, Elektra, and that Blade. You know what I mean? The last thing we want them to do is die. Because they didn't kill them off. So
yeah.
I think that was the true test. The fact that they didn't get killed off. I mean, even though Johnny Storm did, but obviously they killed him off because Chris Evans, he already belongs to one up. Like he's already something else, at this point. So maybe they'll have Michael B. Jordan die as Human Torch. Maybe they'll bring him back.
We talked about this, Chris. Yeah. I was like, they could have 3 versions of the Fantastic Four. Like that would be insane. Like if they had their own movie, their own fucking multiverse movie. Reed Richards, like you said, there's a whole the whole team of Reed Richards. So he's like, all 3 of them could be there. They're all alive. You know what I'm saying? So that all of them could be there and be like, you got 3 Fantastic Fours. Like that would be insane. That would be
one of the Reeds are dead. At least in Doctor Strange.
Oh no, not him. Like
you're talking about. Oh, you scared me. Oh, you're talking about the character. Okay, no, I thought no. They were talking about the actors. He's talking about like
gotcha.
The original, the first one with Michael Chiklis. The second one that should, you know what I'm saying? Those 2 fans, all those casts are still there. That's what I'm saying. Like they could bring those 3 cinematic like family Fantastic Four teams together or some combination.
There's the original too, right? From like the
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The original.
So the original from the 70s.
No, I mean the original from 2000.
Okay.
2015.
Yeah, because there was a team before them, like back in the day. I think it was like 80s or 70s.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows them. But
no. Oh, they did a cameo in this movie.
They did cameos.
Yeah. They did a cameo in this movie. That was cool. They did a cameo.
I didn't even know that. That.
Yeah, they were getting saved. You saw four of the like construction workers looking up, and they were thinking that was the original Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
they're like, thank you, Fantastic Four. I looked, I was like, oh shit, that's Human Torch. Good.
Maybe Michael Chiklis and them can get if they don't suit up. If they don't suit up, maybe they will get that kind of thing to be like, hey, well, they should have been in this movie or something. If they get a sequel, something like that. But it would be interesting to see those 2 versions. If they go multiverse, if they really go multiverse, this is the team that they could do it, and it would make sense. Because I don't think they're gonna bring back Fassbender and crew. Like I don't think those fuckers. I mean, though, like because I thought
Fassbender would come back. You don't think like that era will come back?
No, I think the fact that they're going back to the original recipe is also an example of no. Like if they were going to do that, like this would be the movie to be like we're going back to James McAvoy, that crew to be like that's the new old generation. Like that would be the OGs that they would try to bring back. If they wanted some longevity out of them, to be like we may visit you every once in a while. I would think. To go back to Patrick Stewart, that's some fan service right there.
Did you guys see? You guys familiar with the DC TV series, like Arrow and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Remember, they did they sort of did their own thing, like the Infinite Crisis or whatever.
Excellent.
And they just had the cameos of people, and then their world was destroyed.
Yeah.
They could do something like that. So they at least honor the person, but then they get wiped out. Let's move on.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying to be like, we see you, but you're no more. And we have to. Yeah. That was. I mean, I always said that CWTV did it the best when it comes to like integrating the worlds, but then bringing them back together. I thought it was awesome. Like this is how you do it. And I was very disappointed that the movies failed so bad when they had such a good ground, foundation they easily could have did across the Justice League and all that kind of stuff. Like they really did it well on TV. I thought. By the way, we gotta wrap this up. I gotta get steak. So, Chris, any final words for the MCU? What you got?
Yeah, no, check out this movie. It's, I mean, this summer we've had quite a few nice blockbuster films. So, 2025, in my opinion, did not disappoint. Even though like seemed like we might have really ripped on Superman, I think we still kind of still enjoyed it. I mean, but yeah, you had Thunderbolts, and I'm just naming just movies in general. Thunderbolts, Sinners, Superman, and then now we have Fantastic Four. So Fantastic Four, I would probably say Fantastic as far as the superhero movies of the year. I would probably say this is probably number one as far as the year goes. I'm not going to go ahead and say this is like I know some people are saying, "Oh, this is the top 5 MCU movies we've ever had." I'm like, chill out. We got 37 films. You go through all of them. I don't know if I mean, this is really good. This is good. It ain't that great. I think what I mean. And but it was still fun. I love the look and the aesthetics of everything. Thought the cast for the most part was well done. They did Galactus, I think, like the right way. And other than other little hiccups that we brought up earlier, in a sense of just kind of delving more into the characters themselves, you know what I mean? You have someone like me who don't really give a shit when it comes to Fantastic Four as superhero characters, and actually be like, okay. So yeah, so I'm on board, and even the little cartoon show that they did at the moment, the post-credit scene with the cartoon show, you know what I mean, which was more fun. I like that. I thought that was really nice done. It was definitely a huge throwback to the old school cartoon Fantastic Four show. So I was like, okay, that was really cool. So a lot of it it just looked great. It just looked beautiful. Everything about it was great. So, but yeah, so check it out. Check it out. You won't be disappointed, I don't think. So, but yeah, so I guess we'll see you guys soon. The next thing we probably have as far as superhero stuff is maybe Peacemaker. You know what I mean? Peacemaker.
Wakanda first.
Oh, Wakanda's first. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do Eye on Wakanda.
Eyes of Wakanda, yeah.
So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that, and then August 1st. That's next week. So like next weekend should be next week.
Yeah.
So
and then. Oh yeah, and then we got Twisted Metal that premieres next week.
Yeah. We're gonna do it. Yeah. Oh, you want?
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm rewatching.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I'm rewatching the first season, and
it was solid.
It's even better when you watch it a second time around, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anthony Mackie, I'm still kind of iffy about him, but
He's him.
Yeah, Anthony Mackie can't help but being himself.
But yeah, so we'll do that. We'll do that too. We're in that too.
But anyway, guys, check it out. Until then, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Thanks, Chris. We'll see you next time.
All right, Chris.
All right. Oh, your turn. What you got?
He took all the good stuff, so no, but I like Chris said, like, go out and check this movie out. I think it would be worth your time. You may not love it, but I think you'll like it, and at this point, maybe that's enough, if anybody's listening from Marvel or from the Russo brothers, like, less is more, guys. Just less is more. Like, you're doing a good job with these last two. Just less is more. I hope Marvel can find its way. And whether it's this phase or the next phase, I hope they find their way back. They have a lot of committed fans. I say this all the time. Don't get caught up in the Superman. Those are fun conversations to have as comic book fans. You know what I mean? But they both are good in their certain ways. They both have flaws in their ways, and it is what it is. Hopefully, Eyes of Wakanda delivers. I don't know what the story is for that, but hopefully it delivers. And I'm curious to see it's weird going from Superman to like Peacemaker. It's just James Gunn, right? Like,
it's just James Gunn.
I wish he would just come out and say, "Look, I'm doing everything. Just this is my DC."
But there's a consistent vision in that.
There is, yeah.
Right, like then you know for a fact it's on track. Like I'm
Yeah.
going somewhere, so I need to get these projects the way I want them to be before I let other people kind of get involved. And then like now you can do it. So there, and so I would say to that. And Peacemaker, he did that before he even became the lead. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
this is really just his baby. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, exactly.
he's done well in connecting TV to movie. You know,
and I like that. I hope he continues to do that. I hope Marvel learns from that. Like that's something they should be doing too. Get the same actors. Keep us invested in this. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what lies ahead. Thank you guys for listening to us rant about all this stuff. David, seriously, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. And let's just keep doing it.
We will. Was like I said. So Power of Wakanda. Let's be real. Let's say Wakanda. I'm assuming they're going to drop all the episodes. If they do that, we got.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because they moved it up this fast. I think they were trying to tie it to Fantastic Four. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think they were trying to like wrap it up to that. But we'll look at that, and that'll be the next project probably we do together.
Sounds good, man.
Thanks, so.
All right, guys.
All right, to the comment. You don't have to read. I'm not a comic book fan. I am not. I'm a movie fan. I saw the 3 movies of Fantastic Four. I will go back and watch all 3 movies. I'll see if I see the Silver Surfer was the best. It was the better movie. I feel like the first Fantastic Four was the better movie in my recollection. But that's just me. But I'm a movie fan, and this was an awesome movie. And if you know me, I usually criticize a lot of things for a lot of reasons. This was it for me. I was like, this is what I want to see. I'll be happy to see it again with anyone. I cried. I cried when Sue. I thought Sue died. Over the baby. People were clapping when she pushed Galactus through the wormhole. It was a great ride. It was a great ride, and I thought they did a great job. But anyway, tomorrow we are doing Divorced Sisters in order. I want to say I wrote the order and I can't remember. I want to say we're doing The Chi first. I think we're doing The Chi, Divorced Sisters. Yes, The Chi at 3, Divorced Sisters at 5, and then we're doing All the Queen's Men at 6 is what we're doing. Because it's going to take some time to talk about The Chi and All the Queen's Men. So that's going to be the order for tomorrow, but you'll see that on the channel. Thank you guys very much. Enjoy your evening. I will say thank you guys very much for hanging out with us. I see people watching us in the chat.
I enjoy the view very much. I don't know what the fuck I was watching.
Rewatch this when we're done. Rewatch this. You'll see what we're talking about. You're going to be like, oh, shit.
Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Oh, shit. Lacey, do your thing. Fuck that shit.
But anyway, please like and share and comment on the video and all that kinds of stuff. As they say, we're just going to end this broadcast and say bye.